What's going on, guys? This is PackDaddy bringing you the first episode of Chat Champions. This is going to be a gameplay slash commentary type series where we're going to be playing NHL 17 in the background. We're going to be playing Draft Champions, and then we're going to be discussing popular topics in the NHL, things going on around the leagues, controversies, anything of the sorts. You guys can let me know in the comment section below any topics you'd like me to cover. I don't know if this is going to be a weekly thing, a bi-weekly thing, a monthly thing. We're just going to kind of get a feel for it and see how many topics we can get to talk about that are actually interesting. And please let me know in the comment section suggestions you have for the next episode. But in this first episode, you're also going to see in the background of Draft Champions, if you pick the World Cup of Hockey, be prepared to be stingy when picking your center positions, because I had to turn down some phenomenal players just because I didn't want to waste some of the centers I had already picked up, some of those quality spots I have already put on my roster. So the first topic we're going to talk about today is whether or not the NHL should develop the three-point system when it comes to giving points for victories in the regular season. So much unlike the Olympics and how they do it, as well as everything happening over in Europe concerning all the soccer standings, the NHL is still using a two-point system. Now, what this means with the two-point system is that if you win in regulation, you get 2 points towards your season point total. If you win in overtime, you also get 2 points as well. And if you lose in overtime, you get 1 point, whereas if you lose in regulation time, you get 0. This is much different than what happens with the three-point system. In the three-point system, if you win in regulation, you're awarded the 3 points for winning straight out, beating the other team head on, not having to rely on shootouts or having to rely on 3-on-3 when your superstars are constantly going at it. It's whether or not you can win in full regulation with your entire team. Now, if you cannot win in regulation with your entire team, you get 2 points for winning in overtime or a shootout, and then if you lose in overtime or in a shootout, you get 1 point. I feel like the NHL should develop this three-point system because it truly separates the good teams and awards the best teams with the most points. The Washington Capitals finished this season about, I think it was like 7 or 8 points ahead of the Pittsburgh Penguins. I went ahead and looked up the stats for everybody this season and who would have been placed the highest, and Washington would have earned 12 points higher than Pittsburgh, so they would have gained even more ground on top of the Pittsburgh Penguins, whereas some other fun stuff happened. Not too many things were switched around when it came to the East. The only thing that was different was that Boston and Ottawa would have switched positions, so Boston would have started out with the home ice advantage. You go over to the West, though, and this is where things kind of get interesting. Instead of Chicago being the #1 seed in the West, it was actually going to be Minnesota. So Minnesota would have gotten to play Calgary in the first round. Chicago would have played St. Louis, Anaheim versus Nashville, and Edmonton versus San Jose. So I was really hoping that there'd be a juicy, like Toronto might not have made the playoffs, and my bullet to the Islanders would have gotten in place, but they still only missed the playoffs by 1 point. At the end, Toronto would have had 128 points to the Islanders 127, Tampa Bay 126. But going at it in this direction, there's a reason that the Olympics picked it up, because it truly rewards the team who earns their points the most. It's not a cop-out that, okay, if we couldn't win in regulation, which Washington did a heck of a lot more than pretty much any team out there, and then it comes down to like Chicago and they can put out Taves, Kane, and Panarin or Keith or something like that and absolutely stack the 3 people that are out there. I mean, they're probably going to be pretty good in overtime, and to win that way and be awarded the same 2 points that the entire roster of 20-some people when they battled it out for 60 minutes, it's interesting when you think of that because it just seems unfair to me. At this point, I think the NHL really needs to get rid of any sort of discrepancy or doubt when it comes to the playoff race, when it comes to wild card seeds, and this way truly does separate it. The more points that teams can be awarded lowers the margin of error in trying to figure out which team is the most skilled by the end of the season. The more points awarded, the bigger the gaps are between the teams at the end of the season, the easier it's going to be to see who's truly awarded, you know, that last wild card spot. That way people aren't mad like myself, even though with the three-point method, Tampa Bay still would have lost the playoffs. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about that situation, so that's pretty cool. The next topic that I wanted to bring up was, should EA have dedicated servers for their game? The answer to this one is quick and simple. It is a resounding yes. Now let me explain to you why I think that. EA has graced us with competitive seasons, and this was a huge boost to the franchise, to the game, because it allowed the top players in the community to finally have enough skill and competition at a constant pace to where they're not really bored with Division 1 or climbing the division, starting up a new team, and just railing through 10 divisions again. They finally gave them a place where these top players could go and compete. Now the problem with this one, and there's still a few bugs in the system that EA obviously knows is there, is that since there is no dedicated server and it's all peer-to-peer connection, that people have found ways to exploit this through the desyncing of games and everything, and has pretty much ruined what competitive seasons could be at the highest level, because there are such great prizes awarded, such as really good packs, team of the year players, and whoever the team of the weeks are, as well as coins, which by the way, like 50,000 coins awarded to the #1 player in North America on PS4. That's crap. I mean, come on. You can use so much more with so much more money. 50,000 coins is ridiculous. I think it needs to be like 1,000,000 coins or something, but that cannot happen until there are dedicated servers and ways set in place that ensure that the people who exploit the system and who cheat the system and find ways around it are rid of the community. Not just through banning people, but through having those dedicated servers that know when something is up and that completely erases it from happening. So that needs to happen first before anything can go on. And I'm aware that EA has to know about this because, you know, we bitch and complain about this in the community so much, and it is so prevalent in the community, and there's always posts about it, that there is probably something being done about this. I just hope it gets taken care of in time for NHL 18. I was a coder. I was in engineering school. I graduated with an engineering degree, and I had to code lots of things, and it was so hard doing small tasks in the laboratory with only like 1,000 lines of codes, whereas you got an entire franchise full of games going on. So I bet the issue is a little bit more complicated than we understand. However, I think dedicated servers is the first place for that. And once you have dedicated servers, that not only takes care of competitive seasons, but opens the door to more fun things we can do in this community and online, and ways to waste our time. For instance, we could have mini games. I remember back in Call of Duty Black Ops 1, I believe it was, you could wager the in-game currency that you had to buy camos or whatever. I don't remember what else you used those coins for. It was sure heck wasn't dance moves, whatever's going on in this new game. But what you could do with that is just imagine this. Everybody comes in with like 5,000 pucks and it goes to a shootout. It picks one person at random to be the goalie. If you score, you remain in the shootout. If you lose, you're out. Goalie gets like twice what he put in just because he's a goalie and didn't get to have fun, or maybe stop enough shots and be awarded a card. But imagine the winner of the shootout gets awarded a pack plus a coin bonus. That would be a huge coin sink for EA. It would be very fun to have. Or imagine like a juggernaut mode where one person's awarded like Wendell Clark checking abilities and everybody else has like an AHL or just like an OHL player, just full on bronze, just sucks, can't stay on his feet. Then you got one Wendell Clark guy and a zombie. Whenever he hits you, you fall on the ice and can't get up, and it just becomes an elimination match. Last one standing wins. That would be awesome as well. Maybe like the Wendell Clark stat could be how quickly can you just destroy everybody. So I think these are fun ideas that can't really happen, because if you have things like this, people are going to find ways to exploit that if it's still peer-to-peer connections. Plus I don't think you can really, I'm not sure. Maybe that would work out. Who knows? That would be fun. But once again, guys, this cannot happen until the NHL and the EA franchises kind of realizes that servers kind of need to happen. I mean, I was talking to my brother who was a FIFA YouTuber. He said there's a problem last year, but this year was our first year with dedicated servers, and things have been much better. So let me know if you guys did enjoy this video. If you could leave a drop a like on the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Let me know in the comment section suggestions you have. But until next time, this is PackDaddy. I'm out.